A shocking claim by U.S. President Donald Trump has reignited global fears of a new nuclear arms race. Trump alleges that China, Russia, North Korea, and Pakistan are secretly conducting underground nuclear weapon tests, breaching decades of global restraint. But China is hitting back hard, calling the accusation false, irresponsible, and dangerous. As Beijing firmly denies any wrongdoing and urges the United States to maintain the moratorium on nuclear testing, the world is now watching to see if this war of words could spiral into something far more dangerous. Welcome to Shadow Report, where we uncover the truth behind the world's most pressing global stories. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and hit the bell icon, because today we're breaking down the new nuclear showdown between Washington and Beijing. Chapter 1. Trump's bold allegation. It began with a television interview that quickly made global headlines. President Donald Trump, speaking with CBS on Sunday, claimed that several nations, including China, Russia, North Korea, and Pakistan, were conducting secret underground nuclear weapon tests. Russia's testing and China's testing, but they don't talk about it. "I don't want to be the only country that doesn't test," Trump declared. His comments immediately sent shockwaves through diplomatic circles. No verifiable evidence was presented, but the implication was clear. The United States might be preparing to resume its own nuclear tests after more than 3 decades of restraint. For context, the U.S. last detonated a nuclear device in 1992, and no country other than North Korea has carried out such a test in decades. Trump's justification? He argues that if others are testing, the U.S. cannot afford to remain idle. Chapter 2. China strikes back. Within hours, Beijing's response was swift and firm. Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Mao Ning publicly refuted Trump's allegations, calling them baseless and reaffirming China's commitment to the long-standing nuclear testing moratorium. "China has abided by its commitment to suspend nuclear testing," Mao said. "As a responsible nuclear weapon state, China is committed to peaceful development and adheres to its nuclear testing moratorium." Beijing not only denied any secret testing, but also called on Washington to set an example by maintaining its own moratorium, warning that any U.S. resumption of tests could destabilize the delicate global balance of power. Mao Ning emphasized that China follows a no-first-use policy, meaning it would never use nuclear weapons unless attacked first, and urged the U.S. to take concrete actions to safeguard global stability and non-proliferation. Chapter 3. A new era of uncertainty. The controversy arrives at a fragile time in global security. The Cold War-era fear of nuclear escalation had faded for decades, but with renewed great power rivalries and Trump's return to the White House, those fears are resurfacing. The U.S. has accused Russia and China of developing new nuclear-capable systems. Russia recently confirmed testing a nuclear-powered cruise missile, the Burevestnik, and an underwater nuclear drone, raising questions about the limits of current treaties. China, meanwhile, is expanding its nuclear arsenal, modernizing its missile systems, and constructing new silos. However, there's no evidence from international watchdogs like the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty Organization, CTBTO, suggesting that Beijing has resumed explosive nuclear testing. Experts warn that Trump's rhetoric and his new directive could reignite the global arms race that the world worked for decades to prevent. Chapter 4. The U.S. testing order. The most startling part of Trump's announcement wasn't his accusation, it was his solution. Just minutes before entering a summit with Chinese President Xi Jinping, Trump posted on social media that he had ordered the Department of Defense to immediately resume testing. The vague and abrupt order shocked allies, scientists, and lawmakers alike. Did he mean full-scale nuclear detonations, or was he referring to system tests, non-nuclear experiments designed to simulate parts of a weapons detonation sequence? When pressed by CBS, Trump appeared to confirm the former, saying, "We're going to test nuclear weapons like other countries do, yes." But hours later, U.S. Energy Secretary Chris Wright attempted to calm fears, saying the administration was referring to non-critical tests, experiments that don't produce nuclear explosions. "These are what we call system tests," Wright explained. "You're testing the other parts of the weapon to make sure they function properly." Even so, the announcement has raised massive international concern. Many fear this could mark the first U.S. nuclear explosion in over 30 years, effectively ending the global moratorium and paving the way for others to follow. Chapter 5, Global Reactions and Fears. The reaction from world leaders was swift. European allies expressed deep unease, warning that breaking the moratorium could destroy decades of progress in nuclear disarmament. The United Nations Secretary-General issued a statement urging all nuclear powers to exercise maximum restraint and to avoid undermining the international non-proliferation regime. Meanwhile, Russia called Trump's statement a dangerous provocation, but simultaneously boasted about its own new nuclear systems. In Beijing, Chinese state media accused Washington of trying to shift global attention away from domestic issues and warned that U.S. testing would be met with strategic countermeasures. The global message was clear. If the U.S. resumes testing, the fragile peace could unravel. Chapter 6. Experts sound the alarm. Nuclear policy analysts and former officials have expressed growing alarm over Trump's rhetoric. Dr. Elena Mikhailova, a nuclear scientist at MIT, said, "Even if these are non-critical tests, the optics are terrible. It signals to the world that the U.S. is walking away from decades of nuclear restraint." Another expert, James Acton from the Carnegie Endowment, warned that any U.S. testing would give Russia and China political cover to do the same. If the U.S. breaks the testing taboo, we could see a chain reaction, he said. Once one nuclear power resumes, others won't be far behind. Even within Washington, voices of dissent are rising. Several members of Congress, both Republican and Democrat, have urged Trump to reconsider, calling the decision reckless and counterproductive. Chapter 7. The politics behind the move. Critics say Trump's comments are not just about security, they're about politics. By accusing rivals like China and Russia of secret nuclear activity, Trump can justify rebuilding America's nuclear arsenal and expanding defense budgets, a move that appeals to his base and defense contractors alike. Some analysts believe Trump's goal is to project strength ahead of upcoming elections, framing his actions as putting America first in matters of national security. Others suggest he's using the threat of nuclear testing as a negotiating tactic against Beijing, a pressure move to extract trade or defense concessions. Whatever the motivation, the risk remains the same: destabilizing the world's most dangerous balance of power. Chapter 8. The future of nuclear peace. As of now, China has restated its commitment to nuclear restraint, urging the U.S. to take the lead in maintaining global stability. But if Washington proceeds with tests, the ripple effects could be devastating. From arms races in Asia and Europe to renewed nuclear proliferation in volatile regions like the Middle East. The last time the U.S. conducted a nuclear explosion, Bill Clinton was president. Since then, the world has relied on trust, verification, and diplomacy to maintain peace. Now, with Trump's order and Beijing's fierce rebuttal, that fragile peace stands on the edge of collapse. The nuclear arms race was supposed to be history, but history, it seems, is repeating itself. As China denies testing, Trump doubles down, and the world holds its breath. The question is no longer who's testing, but who will stop first. The stakes? Global stability, national security, and the future of human civilization. This is Shadow Report, where we shine light on the stories others keep in the dark. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video to stay informed on global developments that shape our future. Because in times like these, knowledge isn't just power, it's survival.